The emerald-clad Astartes trudged through the ash-choked ruins, their green armor scuffed and pitted from countless battles. Captain Zavus of the Salamander's 3rd Company No, as the Ignisaurs led his small squad, their red eyes scanning the desolation for any sign of their lost Primarch, Vulcan. "Brothers, hold!" Zavus growled, raising a ceramite-encased fist. Before them lay the remnants of a skirmish, twisted metal and charred corpses scattered across the blasted landscape. Sergeant Dalik approached a fallen space marine, its armor an unfamiliar slate gray. "Unknown chapter, Captain, but the gene seed might still be viable." Zavus nodded grimly. "Harvest what we can. The Forge Father must analyze it. Perhaps it will lead us to our father's fate." As they worked, Brother Titus called out, "Movement to the east! Xenos signatures!" The Salamanders formed a defensive circle, their bolters raised. From the ruins emerged a pack of tyrannid gene stealers, chittering and slavering for fresh prey. "For Vulcan and the Emperor," Zavus roared, his power hammer igniting. "Into the fires of battle, unto the anvil of war." The battle was fierce but brief. As the last gene stealer fell, Flavius examined a piece of scavenged armor. "Captain, this pauldron, it bears the mark of the 13th. A spark of hope ignited in Zavus a heart. "Then we're on the right path, brothers. Collect what we can and move out. The 13th Legion's trail may yet lead us to Vulcan himself." Battered but unbroken, the Sons of Nocturne pressed on, their distinctive green armor a beacon of hope in the gloom. Their quest to find their Primarch burned as bright as the forges of their homeworld, driving them forward through the desolation. As the Salamanders pressed on through the desolate landscape, the acrid smell of smoke and decay filled their enhanced senses. Their green armor, once pristine, now bore the scars of their arduous journey. Captain Zavus led them towards a looming mountain range, its peaks shrouded in ominous clouds. "Captain," Brother Ignis called out, his auspex beeping insistently. "I'm detecting faint heat signatures ahead, possibly Imperial in origin." Zavus nodded, his scarred face set with determination. "Proceed with caution, brothers. It could be a trap, or a clue to our Primarch's whereabouts." As they approached the foothills, they came upon the remains of an ancient battlefield. Rusted tanks and shattered drop pods littered the area, half buried in the ashen soil. The Salamanders moved methodically, scanning for any signs of their gene father or the elusive 13th Legion. Sergeant Dalik knelt beside a partially intact power armor, its green hue barely visible beneath layers of grime. "Salamanders," he confirmed, his voice tight with emotion. "These were our brothers." Captain Zavus placed a hand on Dalik's shoulder. "Their sacrifice will not be in vain. Harvest the gene seed and salvage what armor we can. We honor them by continuing our mission." As the squad worked, Trooper Titus called out from a nearby ridge. "Captain, you need to see this." The Salamanders converged on Titus's position, their eyes widening at the sight before them. In a sheltered valley below lay the unmistakable form of a crashed Thunderhawk, its hull bearing the faded insignia of the Drake. "By the Emperor," Zavus breathed. "Could this be the key we've been searching for?" As they prepared to descend into the valley, a piercing shriek echoed across the wasteland. The Salamanders turned as one, weapons raised, to face a horde of warp-spawned horrors pouring from a newly formed rift in reality. "Defensive positions," Zavus roared, his power hammer crackling with energy. "We must reach that Thunderhawk for Vulcan and the Emperor." The Sons of Nocturne braced themselves for battle, their green armor gleaming in the hellish light of the warp rift. Whatever secrets the crashed ship held, they would fight to their last breath to uncover them, driven by their unwavering loyalty to their lost Primarch and the Imperium they had sworn to protect. Captain Zavus led the Salamanders towards the warp-spawned threat, his power hammer held high. Sergeant Dalik took up position on his right flank, while Brother Ignis readied his flamer on the left. "Brothers, form a firing line," Zavus commanded. "Brother Ignis, prepare to purge these abominations with holy fire." The emerald-clad Astartes moved with practiced precision, their bolters barking in unison as they unleashed a hail of mass-reactive shells into the oncoming horde. Demonic entities shrieked and writhed as they were torn apart, but more poured through the rift to take their place. "For the Emperor and Vulcan!" Brother Ignis roared as he stepped forward, his flamer spewing forth a torrent of promethium that engulfed the front ranks of the demonic assault. Sergeant Dalik spotted a larger entity emerging from the warp rift. "Captain, we have a greater demon incoming." Zavus nodded grimly. "Hold the line, brothers. I'll deal with this monstrosity myself." As the battle raged on, the salamanders fought with the determination and resilience that had made them legendary. Their green armor, scorched and dented, still gleamed with an inner fire that matched the burning conviction in their hearts. Brother Titus, watching their backs, called out suddenly, "Movement from the Thunderhawk. It's not as abandoned as we thought." The salamanders now faced a dilemma: press on against the demonic horde, or investigate the potential lead on their missing Primarch. Captain Zavus knew that whatever choice he made would shape the fate of their mission and possibly the future of their chapter. Throughout the battle, Ignisor held their line against the relentless tide of warp entities. Captain Zavus swung his power hammer in wide arcs, smashing apart demonic forms with each thunderous impact. Sergeant Dalik's bolter sang a constant staccato of death, while Brother Ignis's flamer bathed swaths of the enemy in purifying flame. Suddenly, a massive tentacle lashed out from the warp rift, wrapping around Brother Titus's leg. The Space Marine roared in defiance, emptying his bolt pistol into the writhing appendage. "Titus!" Zavus shouted, turning to aid his battle brother. But before the captain could reach him, more tentacles erupted from the rift, ensnaring Titus. The brave salamander fought with all his enhanced might, his ceramide armor creaking under the strain. "Brothers, I go to the Emperor!" Titus cried out, his voice filled with both pain and conviction. With his free hand, he unclipped a clutch of crack grenades from his belt. Sergeant Dalik realized what Titus intended. "No, brother, hold on!" It was too late. With a final roar of, "For Vulcan!" Titus activated the grenades. The explosion tore through the mass of tentacles and consumed the brave Space Marine, taking a significant portion of the demonic horde with him. The salamanders paused for a split second, their hearts heavy with the loss of their brother. Then, rage and determination filled them anew. "Honor Titus's sacrifice!" Zavus bellowed, his voice carrying over the din of battle. "Push forward! We'll seal that rift or die trying!" Brother Ignis unleashed a massive gout of flame, incinerating a path through the diminished demonic ranks. Sergeant Dalik charged forward, his combat knife flashing as he engaged in close combat with the remaining entities. As they fought their way towards the warp rift, the mysterious movement from the crashed Thunderhawk caught Zavus's eye once more. Whatever secrets it held would have to wait. First, they had a battle to win and a fallen brother to avenge. The green-armored warriors pressed on, their determination unbroken despite their loss. They would seal this rift, honor Titus's memory, and then uncover the truths that awaited them in the wreckage of the 13th Legion's vessel. The quest for their Primarch continued, now fueled by the fire of vengeance and the unshakable bonds of brotherhood.